serving out and I can show you how to use it. Come along with me and put your mind at ease. Have a little more conversation, a little more action, please. All this sacrifice, satisfaction in me. A little more bite, a little less ball. A little less bite, a little more spark. Close enough and open up your heart. Baby, satisfy me. Satisfy me, baby. Come on, baby, I'm tired of talking. Grab your coat and let's start walking. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Don't procrastinate, don't articulate, girl, let's get it, make it, no settle in. Hey, a little less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation, satisfaction in me. A little more bite, a little less ball. A little less bite, a little more ball. Push nothing up in your heart, baby, satisfy me. Satisfy me. Talking. Grab your coat and let's start walking. Come on, come on. 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 Don't procrastinate, don't articulate, girl, let's get it, make it, no settle in. Hey, a little less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation, satisfaction in me. A little more.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm Lucky Carson, and what I've got here for you this time is what I believe to be a special video in honor of Elvis Week 2012 and the 35th anniversary. Now, I believe that this year there was a hidden theme. I believe the whole purpose behind Elvis Week this year was to show the world that yes, Elvis Presley is alive and that he is back. And I also believe they are showing us in one of the clues that I'm getting ready to show you that the movie Elvis Found Alive that came out early this year, that this movie is real, that yes, it is Elvis Presley in this movie telling you everything. You know, it's been 35 years now since the world was told that Elvis had died. And today, I have made a series of films documenting the entire 35 years that the world believed Elvis was gone. Now, as I'm showing in these films, Elvis Presley never left us. He did not turn his back on the fans. He kept putting out new music the whole time. And not only that, I believe that they were putting out many clues throughout the years to try to show us that Elvis was still here with us. It's just that the whole world believed that he had died, and no one's seen what was going on. You know, I would like to say that if I thought there was any possibility that Elvis Presley really did die, I would not be making the films that I have made to share with people. You know, I respect this man too much to ever dishonor him in any way at all, to ever hurt him or his family. I mean, this guy's been there my entire life, since I was 3 years old. That is 39 years of my life that I have loved this music and this man. And I would never want to do anything that would dishonor him in any way at all. But I do believe that the day has come where Elvis is wanting the world to know the truth, what really happened. And I believe it's up to us, the fans, to help him out, to help people see the truth that yes, he still is here. Now, in the movie Elvis Found Alive, Elvis tells all. He tells us everything, from the beginning of his career all the way up till today. Now, he tells us how they faked his death, how they pulled this off. He tells us why they had to do that. And he also talks about this permission that he needs to come back and tell the world that yes, he is alive. And he tells us in this movie why he is being denied this permission. He is really telling us what's going on in this movie. Now, I believe until he receives this permission that he is talking about, that his family and Elvis Presley Enterprises, they also cannot come back and tell us that he really is alive. Not until they receive this permission. But even though they cannot tell us, I believe that now the time has come where they are showing us that yes, Elvis really is here. And I believe that this is very obvious of what they're doing here. You know, I believe that this year, in 2012, is the return of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Alright, it is now time to start taking care of business. So what I've got here for you is 4 clues that came from the 35th anniversary this year. Now, the first clue that I'm going to show you, I've already went over in one of my other videos titled "The King is Alive" classified ad. Now, this is an advertisement for the 35th anniversary concert, and I found this advertisement in the newspaper from the small town in which I live. They had it in the classified ads section. I thought this was a very strange place to be advertising this concert. You know, I did not see a whole lot of promotion or advertisement this year for the 35th anniversary. It was on the internet, but I didn't see it very much anyplace else. So here it is, this classified ad from a small town newspaper. Okay, there it was. This advertisement for the 35th anniversary concert that I found in the local newspaper from the town in which I live, in the classified ads section. Now, in this advertisement, they are telling us in bold writing, the King is alive. Now, they're also telling us in this advertisement that Elvis returns to Memphis for a spectacular concert event starring the real Elvis Presley via video. Now, I don't know about you, but I believe this advertisement is telling us everything, that Elvis Presley is alive. Okay, now it's time for the second clue. Now, this one comes from a comic book that they were giving away during Elvis Week down at Graceland. So here is the cover of this comic. Okay, here is the clue that you will find inside this comic book. Now, what you're getting ready to see here is a picture of artwork that shows 3 images from Elvis Presley's life. Now, notice at the bottom of this picture, it has a quote from Elvis Presley. And it says, "I never expected to be anybody important." Now, I believe they have chose this quote for a very special reason. Alright, now Elvis says this for the first time back in the 50s for Photo Play magazine. But as I show you coming up, I believe that Elvis says this once again later on in life. But first, let's take a look at this artwork that was in this comic book they were giving away during Elvis Week at Graceland. Alright, as I'm going to show you now, Elvis says this quote once again in the movie Elvis Found Alive. Now, I believe that that is why they chose to put this quote with this artwork in this comic book, to show us that yes, the movie Elvis Found Alive is really Elvis Presley. It's for real, guys. So here is the movie trailer for Elvis Found Alive.
You will know who I am. You will know who I am. I always knew that sometime in my life, I had a feeling that sooner or later somebody would find me alive. There are good reasons why I had to do what I did. America was under siege, man. Protests, drugs, hippies, violence. And I felt I could help America if I became a federal drug enforcement agent. I had read all the Captain Marvel Jr. comic books. I realized I looked just like him. I played a hero in all of my movies. Now, I wanted to be one in real life. I was going to be America's secret weapon to stop the America haters from destroying it. If I could help save America, maybe this was my real destiny that God had prepared me for all this time. I was an ordinary church-going country boy who just happened to love to sing rock and roll music. I didn't mean to put anybody through any pain. I never expected to be anybody important. I hope my story will inspire folks. You know, everyone can be a superhero for America. I never expected to be anybody important. I hope my story will inspire folks. You know, everyone can be a superhero for America. I never expected to be anybody important.
Alright, there it was. You just heard Elvis say, I never expected to be anybody important in the movie Elvis Found Alive. Now, I have no doubt at all that that is the reason that they put this quote with this artwork for this comic book that they gave away during Elvis Week this year. I believe that this is a big clue that they have given us to tell us that yes, it really is Elvis in the movie Elvis Found Alive. Now, I do believe that it is very possible that there is another clue in the artwork itself. And, you know, when you look at this picture, you see 3 images of Elvis. And behind these images, you see lightning. Now, this is not the first time this year that we've seen lightning used. In some of the videos that came out, especially from the continuing CD and website videos, you see a lot of lightning used in these videos. Now, I believe what they're doing here is the lightning is supposed to represent that they're bringing the image of Elvis Presley back to life. Kind of like the old Frankenstein stories, how the lightning brought the doctor's creation back to life. But let me explain on this for a minute. On August 16, 1977, when the world was told that Elvis died, now the man himself did not die, but in the public's eye, the image of Elvis Presley died. And the image of Elvis died that day and has been dead now for 35 years. Now, in order to bring Elvis back to the public's eye, I believe that they are trying to bring the image of Elvis Presley back to life, back to the public's eye. And I think that's what the lightning in this picture represents. Alright, now I want to talk about something that took place during the candlelight vigil this year. You know, this year was the first year that Lisa Marie and Priscilla attended the ceremony. I believe that they were sending us a very big message by doing this. And I'd just like to take a moment and give you my thoughts on this. You know, I have a lot of respect for these 2 ladies. They have been through a lot during the last 35 years. they've had to live every day of their life living with this lie that Elvis Presley died. You know, they most likely, every time they go out in public, do a TV appearance, do an interview, you know, they have to be so careful what they say. This had to be very hard on these two ladies. And I really feel for them. It had to be rough. So, you know, if I was in their position, and every year during this ceremony, all these fans gathered to pay their respects for Elvis. You know, I'm sure they respect that and they love the fans for keeping Elvis alive, keeping his memory alive. But if I was them, it would be too hard to attend the ceremony because I know that I would want to tell the truth. That, hey, he didn't die, he's alive. But I think that this is a reason why they most likely have avoided this ceremony every year. It's just too rough, not being able to tell the fans the truth. But this year, I believe that the whole purpose, the whole theme was to start showing the fans that yes, Elvis is alive. And this year marks the return of Elvis Presley. So I believe that that is why they attended the vigil this year. And think about Lisa Marie. Now today she's got her own music career. And even her children are starting to have their own careers. Now, the whole time during Lisa Marie's life, since they told us that Elvis died, she has never been able to appear in public with her dad. And today, with her own music career, she still cannot appear in public with her dad. Can you imagine for just a moment how important or how much it would mean to her to be able to go on stage and sing a song, do a duet with her father, not on a video screen, but actually have Elvis right there with her on stage and do a song together. Can you imagine how much that must mean to her? I gotta tell you, for these two ladies, it had to suck. This had to be murder on them. And I really feel sorry for Elvis's family for having to go through this. Alright, now for the next clue. Now this one comes from Lisa Marie and Priscilla. And it is from one of the interviews that they gave last week during Elvis Week. Now, keep in mind when you're watching this that until Elvis receives this permission that he tells us he needs to come back and tell the world that he is alive, that Lisa Marie or Priscilla, either one, can come out and tell us point blank that, hey, Elvis is alive. But I believe that in this interview, they are giving us very big clues. They're basically showing us that yes, Elvis Presley is alive. And they do this not once, but 3 times at least. So Here is a little bit of this interview with Lisa Marie and Priscilla from last week during Elvis Week.
That's our first time doing that, actually. We've never done that before. We decided to do that tonight.
It was a very last minute decision. I basically said, because I've never done it, I've always felt that it would be too emotional for me to do it, and I've always just, the fans have their ritual, and I've watched it from afar, but I've never actually gone down. So I think that they said, I was asked, and I said, I'll let you know when I'm up there on site, and then I just decided the last minute, we talked about it and decided it was probably the right time now. It felt right.
What was it like for you?
I've made it a little bit of a tradition now that I'll do something every 5 years for the fans as a tribute. So 5 years ago I did a duet with him in the Ghetto, and all the proceeds went to charity, to Presley Place, which is a charity we have here in Memphis. And so this year I've also, usually I'm caught up in what am I going to do next. So I did put together something this year for tomorrow night, which will be, I think, a nice thing for the fans. Very intimate song that actually T-Bone
Very personal.
picked to do, and I'm harmonizing, but it's got a lot of really personal, intimate footage, and I just thought it'd be really good to celebrate and show that he's still alive in all of us, and we're carrying on for him, and that was kind of the message that I was gonna, send this year.
Do you think there's ever
A whole lot of time. Elvis really didn't particularly care for Hollywood. He got out of Hollywood as soon as he finished his business and came here. This was his sanctuary and where he loved to be. He had a lot of friends and family here, so we really didn't. I mean, he was there to do his movies, or he do Vegas and go back home for a little bit and then come here. So it's a lot different, but he didn't particularly care for it.
I don't think he would have been a fan of how open, there's no difference now in a private and a public life. I don't think that he would have fancied that very much, so he would have been, I would imagine, more reclusive than ever at this point.
Yeah, he was reclusive. Well, yeah, because he enjoyed his privacy. When he was out, he enjoyed it, and he did, he loved being out, but he always loved to come home, and he liked his privacy. And that's it's very important. I think that if you are so open, and I think you lose yourself. You can get caught up. It's somewhat of a trap. So you need to have a place to go to. Oh my gosh, what artist! I like Lady Gaga. I think she's great. I like what she does. I think she's very edgy and has a lot of how can I say, artistic ability. I think that she is probably today the most interesting artist that we have. Obviously there's many more, but Robert Plant, love him, big fan.
Robert Plant, he's still around?
Yeah, he's still around.
Oh my gosh, blasphemy.
All right, that was a little bit of the interview with Lisa Marie and Priscilla from last week during Elvis Week. Now, I believe that they were giving us a very big message in this interview. They were trying to get us to read between the lines, to really see what they were trying to get across to us. I love the way this interview ended, with Priscilla saying, yes, he's still around. Now I know when you're watching this, it appears that she's talking about Robert Plant. But to me it was obvious that she was talking about Elvis. Now, let's take a look at this point of the interview. What was she talking about? We've seen that she was talking about Lady Gaga and modern artists today. And she was telling us a little bit how she thought Lady Gaga was interesting. And then she said Robert Plant. Now for anybody out there who does not know who Robert Plant is, Robert Plant is the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. You know, he was at the top of his game back in his day. But today, Robert Plant would be considered a classic rock artist. Not a modern artist. So this kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. And I believe that this was meant to be a heads up to what's coming up next. Because the next thing that Priscilla said was, yes, he's still around. And then we seen Lisa Marie come back and say, oh my gosh, blasphemy. Now, I believe Lisa said this to discredit the idea that they were trying to tell us Elvis is alive. Now, I believe she did this. I'm not exactly for sure why they had to do this, but I know all throughout the years, all the evidence that has came out showing us that Elvis is still here with us, at one point or the other, they've had to come back and discredit it. Now, usually they came back and said something completely ridiculous to try to discredit the truth. So I believe in this interview that is why Lisa Marie said, oh my gosh, blasphemy. But I thought this interview was very cool, and I believe it was very obvious what they were trying to get across to us. And I would just like to take this opportunity and say to Lisa Marie and Priscilla, thank you. This was awesome. And thank you for everything that you have done this past week and everything you've done all throughout the years. You guys were great. And I hope the day comes when the world does know the truth, and this whole masquerade will end. And I believe the world will be a lot better place when this day gets here. Alright, now it's time to take a look at the last clue. If you can even classify this as a clue. You know, I would classify this as phenomenal. And before I tell you a whole lot about this, you just gotta see this for yourself. This is cool stuff. I believe this is history. But I would like to take a minute and go back over the first thing that I showed you in this video, the classified ad. Now the classified ad, as I went over, was for the 35th anniversary concert. And in this ad, it said, "The King is alive." And then it said, "Elvis returns to Memphis for a spectacular concert event starring the real Elvis Presley via video." So with that said, here is a video that I found on YouTube of one of the opening scenes from the 35th anniversary concert. So I hope you all enjoy this. It is very cool.
Any place just as long as I'm with you.
Okay, wow. All I can say is thank you, Jesus. I am so thankful to see the day. What I believe that we just seen, without any doubt at all, was the return of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, back to the stage. Now he had to do this by video screen. It was the only way he could do it at this time. But he still did it. Elvis is back. Now I'd just like to take a moment and talk about a couple of things that I noticed about this video. I believe that this storm, how it takes the house away, I believe this represents what happened to Elvis. You know, when Elvis went and became a federal agent and started trying to help America out, he got mixed up in some pretty crazy stuff. And I bet at times, and we know it ended up in a bad situation, but at times it was like being in a storm. And this situation that Elvis was in led up to the point where they removed him from the public side. And that's why we see in this video the house being taken away by the tornado. Now today, 35 years later, Elvis is letting the world know that yes, he is alive. And that's why we see the house coming back. But I want to point out that when this house comes back, you will notice before it lands, it stops. And then it takes back off and leaves the video screen. Now, I believe that this point of the video is representing back when Fox News and Dr. Hinton was telling us that Elvis was going to let the world know that he is alive and he was going to come out and prove himself that he really is here. But as we all know, this didn't happen. And I believe that's why the house took back off and left the video screen. But now, today, this year in 2012, with the release of the movie Elvis Found Alive and the CD that went with the movie, the continuing CD and all the videos on the continuing CD website, and there's a whole lot more out there that has been coming out this year. And now we have the events that took place during Elvis Week. But this is why you see the house land. I gotta tell you, Elvis is back. The king of rock and roll has came home to show the world what it means to really rock. I believe he's back and he wants the world to know the truth, that he is alive. He wants the world to know what is going on, what has happened to him over the last 35 years. But all I can say is this video that we just seen from this show, I believe that is the biggest event in rock and roll history, if not American history. Elvis Presley has came home to the fans and the whole world. They're letting us know that he's alive and he is back. Now, I believe it's up to us, Elvis fans, to help him out. They're doing everything they can to show us that he's here and he's alive. Now it's up to us to help them out, to share this with as many people as we can until this becomes public knowledge, until everybody in the world knows that this is the truth. And then I hope when the entire world knows that Elvis is alive, that I believe they will have no reason at all to hide him from us, and he will be able to come back. So I ask you all, as Elvis fans, help the King of Rock and Roll out. You know, I think that's what it means to be an American, to take part in something like this, to help in making a difference. You know, you would be taking part in making history. I believe God would be very happy. I believe that it would be a very Christian-like thing to do. So, share this new music. Share these movies that I have made. Make your own movies. Put something together yourself. But please, find a way to help them out. I know it's going to be hard. People are very hard-headed. Some people will laugh, and they won't have any reason at all to why they are laughing and making fun of the situation. Maybe they think they're being cool. Well, I got news for those people. Elvis is the man who invented cool. So you want to be cool? Help the King of Rock and Roll out. I believe that we can make a difference. But I'm going to close this video up. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time and watching this. Hopefully you have seen my movies that I've put out in the Elvis Lives series. Take these movies, these videos, and download them and put them on DVDs and give them away as gifts. Maybe that would be a way to help. Anything at all to make a difference. But I hope to see you all soon. And may God bless you all each and every day. And until next time, rock on.